today's video. The seasons are changing, which means it's about fall here in Columbus, Ohio. And when fall happens, our kind of cravings and our food starts to shift and change a little bit. And something that Patrick and I absolutely love is chili. But we don't do a lot of beef anymore. So we've searched and searched for healthy turkey chili recipes, and we found one that we absolutely love. It's from Ambitious Kitchen, Monique Vols. And we do make a few changes from her recipe, but it's been our favorite. And so we wanted to share that with you today and walk you through step by step. So hopefully you can make this at home. We like to make this on Sunday for meal prep. Sometimes we do a double batch and then we freeze half of it. So that way, as the week goes on and Wednesday hits, we have chili ready to go to get us through the rest of the week. We also like to put it on certain things. We'll put it on rice, we'll mix pasta in. Sometimes we'll put it on a salad with avocado or sweet potato, tortilla chips crumpled up on top. So you can do a ton of different things with it. And it's also just super satisfying as the weather starts to get a little bit chillier. So chillier, get it? Chillier, ha. Okay, so what I wanna do is take you guys through the ingredients that you're gonna need. So starting with the protein, we usually do an extra lean ground turkey breast. So this is 99% fat-free. If you don't wanna use that lean, I would go down to the 93.7, but I would be careful with going past that because it's gonna give it a little bit of a fattier taste. So we like the 99%. From there, spices. So I don't use the packet. We create our own chili flavoring, and we use chili powder. So this is super important that you don't use a spicy chili powder. If you use spicy, you're gonna wanna cut the amount that you use down. So we'll talk about that when I start adding it to the pot. So up next, we have our ground cumin. So this is just gonna give it some great flavor as well. Then we're gonna do some oregano. Not a ton of this, you'll see. And then cayenne pepper. This gives it a little bit more of a spice. We really like that. So then from there, what else you're gonna need are kidney beans. Patrick and I like the dark red kidney beans, and you're gonna wanna wash and drain these before you add them. And I'll go through all of those steps with you guys. Then you could do crushed or diced tomatoes. We choose crushed, and it comes in this little tomato puree, and it's really delicious. We like our chili very tomatoey. From there, I have a second can of beans. Usually Patrick and I only add 1 can. The recipe does call for 2, so if you really like beans, you could add 2. And then we have chicken broth. So for the chicken broth, I usually cut the amount in half because we like our chili a little bit thicker. But again, you could add however you like your chili, that's how much you could add. Followed with a yellow onion, which is delicious. It just makes me cry every time I cut it, and I hate that. And then we have garlic cloves, a red pepper, and then we have extra virgin olive oil. And that's really all you're gonna need to make this delicious, healthy, yummy turkey chili. All right guys, step 1 is gonna be wash your onion and your pepper and then mince your garlic. So I have already done all of that, and the onion does make me cry, so I didn't show you guys that part. I haven't figured out how to cut it and not have tears coming down my face, but here you go. So all I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna take my extra virgin olive oil and I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons to a pot on medium heat. We don't want the heat to be too high, we just want it warm, because what we're gonna do is basically saute our onion and our pepper because we don't want them to be raw in our chili. So 1 teaspoon, that was heaping, that's okay. And 2. So 2 teaspoons of our olive oil. And you could use, I'm sure, avocado oil or whatever other kind of oil you choose to use. I like to spread it around the pan. And then from here, I've got a diced up red pepper, my sweet onion, and then you could mince or chop your garlic, however you prefer. Pat and I love garlic, so we don't mind a few bigger chunks. So I'm just gonna push all of this into the pot. So there goes my red pepper, garlic, and my onion. So now that I've added everything to the pot, I'm just gonna grab one of my wooden spoons or my spatulas, and I'm gonna mix it all to cover it in the olive oil. And then we're gonna let it simmer for about 5 to 7 minutes until it's cooked through and it looks like sauteed red pepper, onion, and garlic. All right, so while everything is sauteing, I like to kind of prep everything else. So the one thing that you do need to prep is the beans. We wanna make sure that we wash and we drain them so we don't get all of the extra juice from the beans in our chili. So I usually just take my strainer and then I let them sit. So I'm gonna dump all my beans into the strainer, 1 can or 2, depending on the recipe calls for 2. If you guys don't really like beans, but you like them enough, then I would do 1 can. So I'm just gonna dump them in my strainer. I'll run cold water over them and then just let them sit for a little bit to make sure that I can just rinse them thoroughly before they get added into the chili. All right, so next up, now that my red pepper and onion has been sauteing for about 7 minutes, I usually go a little bit longer because I like to make sure it's cooked all the way through. Then we're gonna add our turkey to the pot. If you wanted to do this in a slow cooker, you could also do that, but we wanna make sure that you brown your turkey before you dump all the ingredients into the slow cooker to cook for 3 to 4 hours, where the difference is I'm doing everything in one pot together. So it's not cooked yet and I'm gonna add it in. So we're just gonna dump it in here. And then I like to mix it up. So breaking up my turkey so it's more ground, I should say, and then that way it can cook thoroughly through. And I'm gonna cook the turkey until the pink is gone. So that way it's no longer pink and I know it's well cooked before I start adding in the rest of the ingredients. All right, so now that the turkey, I was gonna say the chili, the turkey is completely browned, so it takes a couple minutes to do that. You wanna add all of your spices. So I'm gonna add all of the spices together and then I'm gonna mix it and let it cook for about 30 seconds and then I'm gonna start adding my beans and my crushed tomatoes. But we're gonna start with our 4 tablespoons of chili powder. If you are using a chili powder that is not mild, I would use 2 to 3 tablespoons and then try it as it starts to simmer together, and if you need to add more, you can. But once you add too much, you can't go back. So start with 2 to 3, but I'm gonna do 4, mine is super mild. So I'm gonna dump my 4 in. I kinda try to not dump it all in one spot, cover all of the meat. Then from there, I have my 2 teaspoons of cumin. So I'm gonna dump those in as well. It smells delicious. Again, just kind of trying to spread it out in the pan. It's stuck to my bowl. Then from there, I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of oregano. Just dump that in. Followed by 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. That in. And then last but not least, salt. I think salt is more to taste. I usually just do about 2 pinches of salt. And then you can always add more salt at the end when you start to taste it. So from here, now that I've added all of my spices together, I'm gonna mix it all. So it's gonna cover our sauteed red pepper, onion, garlic, and our turkey, I keep wanting to say turkey, yeah, cover our turkey. So now that it's all mixed together, covered in the spices, our next step is gonna be to add our beans and our crushed tomatoes. All right, so now that we've done all of our spices, the next, you want 28 ounces of crushed or diced tomatoes. You could also do 14 ounces of crushed and 14 ounces of diced if you wanted, but you want it to equal 28 ounces. So I'm gonna add that in. Again, be careful because it can splatter. So there's our tomato. Then I'm gonna add my rinsed and drained dark red kidney beans. So toss those in. Pat and I, we like beans, but we're not major bean people. So we usually do only 1 can instead of 2. And then next, we're gonna add about 1 cup of chicken broth. So chicken broth. So adding chicken broth. Now from here, now that I've just added everything together, I'm gonna stir it to combine it, and then we're gonna put the lid on and let it simmer for about 35 to 40 minutes so it can all cook together and thicken up nicely. All right guys, so 35, 40 minutes have gone by, so it should be getting nice and thick and smelling delicious, so it's time to check it out. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. So it did. So it got really thick. I'll bring it over so you guys can see. It's pretty hot right now. You guys can see that it kind of thickened up nicely and it smells amazing. Super hot, so we're gonna let it cool before we serve it. And sometimes Pat and I, when we do serve it, we like to boil some pasta and put it on top of the pasta so we get some nice carbs with it. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this recipe. It's healthy, it's delicious, it's super simple. Really, there's 3 steps. You pop it all into the pot, just keep stirring it, let it thicken up nicely. It'll start to smell really nice, and then enjoy. All right guys, and I know a lot of you are very interested in the macros, so before we go, I wanted to touch on the calories. I did take this recipe from Ambitious Kitchen, like I shared with you guys at the start of the video. It's probably my favorite turkey chili because it's just simple and there's not a ton of steps and it tastes delicious. So check out Ambitious Kitchen and we can drop that link in the description as well. But calorie wise is gonna be about 335 calories. This is for 1.5 cups of chili and it's gonna make about 6 servings. Then for protein, it's gonna have 32 grams of protein, around 3.7 grams of fat, and around 47 grams of carbs. And that is without putting it on top of whatever pasta or rice or anything else you choose to add. Also, you could do some additional add-ins. So you could add on cheese. Pat and I don't do much dairy, so we skip adding cheese, but sometimes we do add on, oops, just knocked everything over. Sometimes we do crumple up our sweet potato chips and add those on top. So you would have to add those macros in as well. The macros I gave you guys are specifically for the chili itself, but super delicious, low in fat, great protein, super healthy. You guys should definitely give this recipe a try. And if you do, make sure you tag me. I hope you guys loved the video. If you wanna see more cooking stuff, more stuff that we like to eat on the regular, we've kind of talked to you guys about how we structure our meals. If you wanna see anything else related to the kitchen, make sure to drop that in the comments below, smash the like button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.